What's up? This is Dreadbolt coming at you live once again through the power of an outdated potato, and this is a response video to the hashtag Boogie Roll type thing that Boogie2988 mentioned in his video of most anticipated games of 2017. And this is talking about like an anime origin sort of thing. This is probably going to ramble on and on. Hopefully, this doesn't take up a half an hour, but I wouldn't. But I wouldn't be too. I wouldn't be too surprised if this did take up like a half hour to 40 minutes. Um, let's see. I'm gonna have to start out. Let's see. Childhood. I caught I would probably catch like a televised broadcast as bits and pieces of stuff. I think I might have seen like a little snippet of Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, but of course I was very young, so I didn't, some of these things, they looked interesting but they didn't catch on. I don't know. Mom must have been watching television and must have flipped the channel or something. Um, and I think another one of the ones I think might have been a movie. Sort of broadcast of Kiki's Delivery Service, which in fact, actually, I think a few months ago, I actually finally managed to get a copy of. Um, but before that, there was like this other anime sort of this. It was kind of weird. I actually saw this other movie on VHS at a sort of like a mom and pop shop. It was sort of like like a bass bait and tackle shop, and one of the owners um, was is good friends with my mom, and so I ended up watching this movie on VHS called Little Nemo the Dream Master, and it's an anime that seems kind of Disney-esque, and uh, but it's not licensed by Disney. In fact, actually, it was based off of a comic. It was based off of a comic that is sort of like the comic that's actually been out so long that it's actually now public domain, and it was a bit of an interesting thing, and it's having to do with dreams as it applies, and it's interestingly Disney-esque for something that's not even a Disney movie. Um, and then I think things didn't really stick out in my head, until later on, because most of the time when I was a kid, I was watching if I wasn't watching if I wasn't watching Ren and Stimpy, I was watching Looney Tunes, the old Looney Tunes, not the stuff not the stuff nowadays that I don't even recognize anymore. Let's see, so Looney Tunes. As Looney Tunes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, um, Mighty Max. Let's see. Yeah, there's quite a few cartoons here and there that were catching my interest here and there, and of course even some knockoffs of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like your Street Sharks and stuff like that. I wasn't really a big fan of Street Sharks. I was more of a fan of SWAT Cats at that age. But when it came to action cartoons for kids, of course I don't think I was old enough. I don't think I was born early enough to catch episodes of He-Man. Um, but I was catching episodes of another show called Mighty Max, which is pretty interesting. And it was sort of like it was on a being broadcast on a channel where I think the on on a station that had a requirement of educational content for kids, and I actually, with Mighty Max, I actually learned a little bit of geography, learned a bit of history, and I didn't feel too bad. I didn't feel too bored by it either. I guess they must have done their job. Another show that was happening around that time, I think, was Sailor Moon. It didn't really stick out in my head because it was like I was, as a young boy, I was like, what is this girly junk? I ain't got time for this. I want to watch some Ren and Stimpy or some Looney Tunes or something like that. So yeah, so for most of the part, anime didn't really start ramping up in my in interest for me until about the time when the anime series for the American dub of the anime series for Pokemon, the first 150, and and as a kid I was really into it. I kind of sort of like grudgingly watched it because it's like because Ash Ketchum his dumb butt didn't get out of bed early enough to get himself a Bulbasaur, a Squirtle, or a Charmander or nothing. So I was like, and you got this electric rat that didn't want that wasn't very convenient at first. I was just like, it's like I don't even like Pikachu. I was like, what the heck is this garbage? Well, of course I wasn't thinking about that out loud. I was still curious, and I kind of wanted to see what happened next, and it turned out to be a very interesting show. It was poorly translated, and the writing was actually rather terrible. But and some things just like that, obvious that are obvious Japanese references. Ended up like, say, like there's this rice ball thing that ended up being called a donut, and I'm like, is that really a donut? I don't know. I kept questioning that because there ain't no way there ain't no way that can be a donut. I mean, but other than that, not much else. Then of course my adolescent years started. Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z was my jam. Basically, space aliens beating the tar out of each other, blowing stuff up. Basically, that was pretty much a sort of like the major catharsis sort of thing. It's just basically after a stressful day at school, I'd come home, sit down, and I'd just jam out Dragon Ball Z. And of course, there were some other ones. I started getting into giant robot animes. I don't know if I was necessarily getting into Robotech, but Robotech or Voltron all that much. I think I might have got into a little bit of Voltron here and there, but for the most part, it was when it came to giant robots, it was the Gundam anime, but particularly actually getting off the track of Japanese anime. I was watching this other giant robot. It's anime, but this is this is definitely made by Americans. By the way it feels, was Megas XLR, and I was just like, oh my god, it's so excellent. In fact, I actually found out. I found out that one of the major creators for the show, I think, was actually extremely inspired by Archie comics, and it's some of the things. It's one of those. It was a giant robot cartoon that was ridiculously relatable. You're able to identify with the characters a lot more. Dragon Ball Z, it seemed like a lot of things were like overtly, villains were overtly dramatic. Heroes were just overtly heroic and virtuous. It just didn't seem like it didn't really feel. I mean, there was some like I guess felt like there was some normal stuff, but everything kind of just like the drama was ramped up. But of course, back in the day, Akira Toriyama, years ago, he was doing these gag comic strips, just this joke stuff, and then of course eventually just his Dragon Ball franchise just exploded into popularity, and so he just went on and did Dragon Ball stuff, Dragon Ball Z stuff, and then now you got video games. Like lots, you got video and not just not just stopping at video games. We're talking about video games that are actually coming to America and getting English translations and such. Let's see, but another thing, but besides the all popular Dragon Ball Z, there was also some other ones that had bared some similarities. One was Yu Yu Hakusho is sort of like it has a sort of a supernatural aspect to it, and the characters that were actually much more relatable, and it felt like it had a much more serious tone to the characters, the story, and I wasn't really super interested in first because I was just my brain was just still still raving, still just feeling like an excess of hype for this monster called Dragon Ball Z. So I just didn't really feel like I felt like to the point where like anything else was just paling in comparison. But after a while, I kind of kind of pulled back, so I could stop having that problem, the forest versus the trees scenario, to where it's just like able to step back and get like a different sort of mental perspective and look at different anime. And Yu Yu Hakusho was one of those ones that it actually started to really catch my interest. It was delving into different sorts of situations and such. And in fact, the fact that I was like, what the heck? Is like this teenage man, like he's I think he dies on the first episode, and his mother is like this delinquent like alcoholic and I don't think takes care of him very well. And I was like, but through his various supernatural series of events, this guy just starts. He embarks on a quest to become a protector of sorts. I don't know. It was a very very interesting thing. As for anything else, it was mostly. Of course, I didn't have very much luck in the romance department. So I was a lot of time. I guess one of the animes that helped fill that niche was Tenchi Muyo, and which I actually to the point. It actually kind of got to the point where I was having like an unhealthy obsession with the anime, and then just things happened, and then I just had to drop it. Unfortunately, it's an okay anime, but looking back in retrospect, it kind of feels like a more mushy and watered down Dragon Ball Z or Yu Yu Hakusho. I don't know, but then again, it's because after a while, romance kind of fell out of my interest after a while, because after a while, just stuff like your disappointment in certain things in life, and eventually, like if you stay disappointed in something long enough, that disappointment ends up turning into apathy. So after a while, just romance kind of died for me. I kind of come back a little bit. There's still probably some heartwarming things here and there, but I still to this day, I don't feel like I can really get into a serious romantic anime like I did back in my teenage and adolescent years. Um, and then after a while, I think my tastes had evolved from stuff that was very from stuff like it evolved. It simultaneously evolved and sort of maybe devolved. I don't know. That's probably up to speculation because I'll watch like the silly crazy lewd stuff like your there's a crazy old show by the name of XL Saga, which I'm disappointed in myself for getting rid of because it was a very interesting parody anime where it just pokes fun at other anime. It even goes so far as poking fun at the Japanese language. There's a very silly and very lewd anime by the name of Desert Punk, which I got it for the lewd stuff, and the fact that it actually had a hat that could fit my big fat skull. But it turns out it was actually very well written. It's actually pretty funny, um, and of course. And I also was liking the serious stuff as well. I was also liking stuff like Cowboy Bebop, which I didn't get into right away because it didn't appeal to me right away because I was also watching stuff that was in fact there was actually one that was kind of a step between is like you got Tenchi Muyo, which seems more, there's action in it, but it's more heavy into romance. And then you got something that still has some romance in there, but it's like a bit more heavy into the action element, which is Inuyasha, which is actually quite another interesting one. That was also had supernatural aspects to it, like Yu Hakusho. But yeah, started to just delve into this more serious stuff, and I liked, there's quite an interesting bit of musical influences with Cowboy Bebop. I actually have the box set for Samurai Champloo, which was Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop had a similar director, I think, Shinichiro Watanabe, I think. Yeah, Shinichiro Watanabe or something like that. And there's sort of like that was one of the things where it's like I was actually starting to get follow like directors studios, like there's a studio Madhouse, and there's with the director Yoshiaki Kawajiri, and of course there's Hayao Miyazaki with the Studio Ghibli or something. Of course, he's got movies like Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke. But another one of the series that I got into was let's see. I mean, another thing was movies actually, specifically, and that was Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, which was done by Studio Madhouse, directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri, which he also did some stuff with. He also did Ninja Scroll, and I think he might have also done Highlander: The Search for Vengeance, which that was pretty interesting. An anime action movie adaptation, high quality adaptation of the Highlander series, and of course there's been some other things here and there. You got your more like your more teenager based stuff, and then you have your much more mature stuff. I find that one of the series, like I don't even want to bother getting into One Piece. Like I looked at one of the the log of episodes. That series has got episodes that I believe that's probably never going to make it to America, because it's just the sheer amount of it's just over. I think it's over 700 to 800 episodes. It's like a One Piece. One Piece is like just is another one of the series that just exploded. But it's not One Piece specifically, but I think there's like a similar. I don't know if it was a similar director or a similar studio or a similar creator or a similar creator that did One Piece. I think might have also done Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail I actually found to be a bit more interesting. I mean, it's still very teenagery with its various, it's just trying to, just appeal to the power of friendship. But basically, the typical Japanese stuff where it's like a bunch of teenagers, uniting with the power of friendship to take down an evil god of some utmost megalomaniac type deals, and well. Even though it doesn't completely, it doesn't really grate on my nerves, it doesn't grate on my nerves like Naruto does. It doesn't grate on my nerves like that does. It doesn't it doesn't feel like it drags on and on and on like Bleach does, because I was super into Bleach. In fact, I even got a tattoo of if I can even show it in here. I got a tattoo of Neliel. If I can even get it to work here. I even got a tattoo of Neliel 2 Odoshvak, basically, which is my cutoff point, because I still consider myself a fan, but of specific characters and such. So I liked the series enough that I actually got a tattoo of a specific character in the series, which held a a very interesting thing. And of course, like I said, with when it came to Bleach, I started out with the action stuff of it, but with me it kind of devolved into this the lewd, some of the lewd stuff and sort of a thing. And after a while, I just I felt like the story started to fall apart for me. So I pretty much just I might have bought one comic book of it, and then got a tattoo, and then that was it. That was it for me. Well, and then other than that, I still see myself getting interested in anime in the future. In fact, I don't know. I was kind of wary about it, because I'll admit, time and time again, I've been bamboozled into your typical lewd Japanese silliness, but not Senran Kagura. That's just that's just a bunch of that's just a bunch of weird ninja gals with jiggling tumors and stuff. I'm talking about something a bit more serious, but still kind of got the some of the silly lewd stuff that I could probably do without. Is Lord Marksman and Vanitas, which is I was kind of interested in. I like some of the different aspects of it. It might seem a little bit too. It might have I don't know for the lack of better phrases and words. It feels like it's kind of got the anime cranked up a bit, cranked up a bit too high, maybe. I don't know. I don't know, because like I don't know, some of the depictions of the characters, the way the characters are presented, the way the characters interact with the story, it seems like some of these characters just, it's like you're kind of left wishing, that some of these individuals in these stories would be written to be a bit more intelligent. I don't know. You feel like you just feel like they're just kind of just caught up in the moment, and this is just what's happening because of the plot. I don't know. It seems like some of this anime problem kind of seeps into Japanese video games, where it just feels like almost like the characters, they kind of feels like they're a slave to the plot, and not in the fun way, I mean, you've got games like the Chrono, like role playing games like Chrono Trigger, that pretty much that game rocks the house down. Whereas you got games like you got games like Final Fantasy X, which, don't get me wrong, it's a good game. It's just that some of the characters are just like, especially the main protagonist, Titus, whatever the heck. It's just like he's kind of a whiny guy that's like delves into way too much wishful thinking. And I feel like a younger Orin would have made a younger Orin would have made a better main protagonist than that overtly I don't know, just overtly cheerful. It's like overtly cheerful. I just felt like, I had to take it down a notch, man, and get a grip. I don't know. Maybe I was too much of a, I don't know, edgelord at the time. I was just like, man, I liked my heroes to be dark, depressing, and brooding, kind of like. So that got me at the point where I ended up liking Final Fantasy VII a heck of a lot more than Final Fantasy X, because it just feels like, oh man, I just felt like, I don't know, there was more weight in my actions, I guess. And of course, another thing that Final Fantasy X kind of went into was I wasn't able to. I was like, I started, like, I actually got a bit of a unhealthy obsession with that one as well. Not just with the anime Tenchi Muyo, but also with the game Final Fantasy X, where I was just like, I actually started to treat it like a dating simulation, and then after a while, but then of course that kind of like that illusion was actually quickly shattered at the end of the game. I was like, okay, I quickly realized it don't matter which character I was interested in. Tidus is gonna go for the tragic love interest that was simply never meant to be, and I'm like, oh, God. After that, I think that might have been even though I beat Final Fantasy X, I even went so far as to unlock all the summons for Yuna, and I even got like the I think maybe one or two ultimate weapons. I had Riku casting spells when she's like supposed to be some sort of technical, like, machine using thief of sorts. But other than that, I think like once the supposed dating simulator illusion that illusion kind of got shattered because of because of plot. I was like, yeah, after that, that was it. Final Fantasy X was one of those games where it's like this is something I'm just going to donate to a friend. Great game. Just the characters just. I guess it's just another one of those things that just wasn't fitting a niche, I guess, at the time. But I noticed that it really over the years, it just really influenced my my artwork. I started started out in my adolescent years drawing a very derpy, just very poorly drawn Goku, and to the point where now I'm actually I actually finished a I actually finished like sort of a kind of like a pilot episode comic, like like a small 8-page comic. Um, and it turns out, and I inked it, and it turned out to be okay. It was very abridged. I mean, I would have liked to have made it longer, but just like with this video, I've rambled on for, well, yeah, look at that, just about past up 30 minutes. So yeah. I could go into more of this. Probably go into the go into the history of these other various things, but I don't want to keep you for too long. So thank you all for watching. Hope if you had like a half hour of nothing to do, if you a half hour to relax or something, and you wanted to watch something, I don't know. Here you go. Hopefully in the future I can, to reiterate, like with what I said in my previous videos, I could say, to try to come up with, try to get a better camera so I can come up with like some higher quality Magic the Gathering content. I don't do a wide variety of stuff. I'm primarily a commander player. I don't really do draft or anything else, unless I see some cards spoil, and then of course I'll just jump in, because I just want to get the cards. And I don't even care if I win. I just want to get some new cards to put in my commander decks and such. Hopefully I can figure out the kind of software that I need in order to finish my Let's Play, or possibly even reboot it with a better recording equipment, maybe. I don't know. Hopefully, if not, I'm still probably going to finish my my Secret of Evermore Let's Play on this crappy old dinosaur of a potato that I'm currently recording this video on. But anyways, other than that, I could probably, I don't know. I think I'd probably have to separate another video for like most anticipated games of 2017. But all right. But anyway, this is Dreadbolt, and of course the link to Boogie's video is be in the description below. And go ahead and comment on some of your favorite anime, and maybe some make a response to his video. Well, I'll see y'all later.